Welcome everybody to the Whatcom Inquisitor. My name is Taylor Holzheimer, and my first guest, is the lovely Nathan Cox of Bellingham fame, now of Seattle fame. Well, he's working on it. And this is our we're attempting a Skype review. This is the second one, so if we both sound pissed off, that's probably why. Managed to do it once without any audio, which is still pretty cool, but it's kind of a boring podcast. But anyway, hi Nathan, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. And had I known that it was going to be just video the first time, I would have put a lot more pantomime and such into my performance. But now that we've got both, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, it makes me wish I knew how to sign.
Yeah, me too.
Crystal knows how to sign, my wife, and makes me feel like an idiot all the time. And it's just like she can talk at me, and I don't know what she's saying.
Yeah, I know very, very little.
Well, Nathan, we've known each other for a long time, and we've done a couple projects together. And you were in the Bellingham comedy scene. You were a DJ. You were in the theater at Western. The theater program, and you were an MC. You do all sorts of crazy stuff around here, and you seem to know everybody, which is kind of one of the kind of the fun things. I've always had trouble with that. I don't know anybody, so I'm always impressed by people that are out there and know people. And you appreciate a Russian dumpling, which is good.
I would appreciate some Russian dumplings right now, actually, if I could. Yeah.
Basically, I want to ask. I'll go through a few questions here that you've already heard. So answer them. Try to answer them exactly the same way you answered them before. I'm kidding, of course. When you started at Western here in Bellingham, were you aware that there was any kind of comedy scene here? Were you aware of any comedy scene here? And was there one? Did there seem to be anything like that going on?
Well, I got started at Western in fall of 2002, and I wasn't really aware of any at the time until I got to Western, but there wasn't a comedy club established at that point. So when I got to Western, I found out about the Dead Parrot Society, which is the improv group at Western, and that was kind of all I knew of at the time. I'm sure there's people around who consider themselves comedians or improvisers or stand-ups or any of those things, but I did not know of them at that time at all. The
much famed Dead Parrot Society, I'd like to add.
National champions. Yep. As of a couple of years ago. That is the campus Western Washington University improvised comedy group up there. They've gone to nationals the last 2 years, and they just got in the wild card spot this year. So we're rooting for them for sure.
So hopefully a two-time national champion. That's what we're hoping for. What kind of stuff were you involved with at Western? I mean, obviously your degree program, which was in, I believe, theater?
That's correct. Yeah, I was a theater major with an acting concentration, with a communications minor and a Spanish minor.
Nice.
But I was involved in a whole bunch of different things, mostly kind of having to do with the arts. I was a Dead Parrot. I was an actor in a whole bunch of different productions, both straight plays and musicals, one acts, 10-minute plays, all sorts of things like that. And I was an RA while I was there, kind of involved with the residence community there as well. But yeah, mostly just focus my time kind of in and around the theater department as far as artistic endeavors go.
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing you in a few plays. You were in Evita.
Mm-hmm.
You were in Trial of God.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised you remember the name of that one, actually.
I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. I'm blanking on those. Those are the two that I really remember seeing you in. But I know you were obviously in more. I hope.
Yeah, funny thing happened on the way to the Forum. West Side Story.
That's right.
Working, Raisin in the Sun, etc., etc. The list goes on.
When did you? when did you first get the notion to do comedy outside of Western?
Let's see, comedy outside of Western. I mean, that really kind of came about mostly when I came back from Los Angeles. I lived in LA for a year right after I got out of college. Wasn't really the right thing it was a good experience, and I'm glad I had the experience, but it wasn't the right place for me at that time. So I moved back up, and right when I moved up, some friends of mine, most of which I knew from Dead Parents Society, had been former members themselves. They let me know they had just started a sketch group called Backflip Wilson. So I got started with them and started doing sketch writing and performing, and started doing shows with them. And then also, once I came back, started to get involved with the Upfront Theater as well, the comedy theater here in Bellingham.
Let's talk about that. The Upfront sort of appeared out of nowhere, the child of Ryan Stiles from Whose Line Is It Anyway fame, and local, I guess, Boy Done Good or whatever. I actually kind of knew Randy Stiles, Ryan's funnier brother, I like to say, and only funnier because the jokes were dirtier. That's the only reason.
Well, I mean, get around Ryan when he's not on stage.
That's fair.
Or in front of a TV camera, and you might see the dirty side.
You might see this, so I don't want to add on it. But if everyone's out there, hi Randy. Hopefully you're alive. I don't know, haven't seen you in a long time. I'll feel like a total dick if he's not, but that's okay. How did the Upfront really affect kind of the Bellingham scene, and in your opinion, and what did it do for comedy here in town?
I think it changed a lot of things because before the Upfront was created in 2005, there wasn't really a specific place that comedy existed, at least not to my knowledge, before then, that you could go on a regular basis, week in, week out, and have that experience. So when that came about, it started off kind of just focused on improv comedy and improv theater. And then it slowly has, I think, expanded out to other things as well. There's now a monthly stand-up night. They've had a monthly variety show in the past. They've done a panel show, kind of like what you might find on a podcast. And kind of varied up their improv that they do as well, and have gotten more creative and have created their own original formats. So I think that has really kind of created growth within the theater itself, but then for people outside of the theater, even if you're not a main stage ensemble member of the theater, there are opportunities for people outside of that main stage ensemble to come in, do performances. We've had singer-songwriters, we've had burlesque groups, we've had stand-up comedians. The list kind of goes on for how we've incorporated those people into some of our shows. Poets, we have one format that they do in April that's entirely kind of poetry-based. So I think it's kind of helped be a cultural hub for the city as well as a comedic outlet. I think it's also created a lot more, especially since the monthly stand-up show got started 2 or 3 years ago. I've noticed the amount of people billing themselves as stand-up comedians has raised quite a bit around the town because it doesn't have to be just main stage ensemble member to do the stand-up night. You can kind of contact the guy who runs it, and hopefully kind of people have kind of gotten in that way. And since then, there's now, I believe, a monthly stand-up night at Glow nightclub. There's one going on at the Wild Buffalo. So lots of opportunities have kind of sprung from around, I think, what the Upfront kind of got started. I think there's probably some comedy nights going on around town before the Upfront. I know the Fairhaven had one running for a while before the Fairhaven closed. But I think it's definitely been a big influence on the growth of things, and a big opportunity for people all around the community to be able to participate and express themselves.
Yeah, I've seen. I saw you at Backflip Wilson there a couple times. I also saw a solo gig there you did after Bellingham State of Mind, which we'll get to in a minute. But with Backflip Wilson, and also a plug to the people out there, Backflip Wilson is on YouTube and has some excellent videos there for everyone to check out. How'd you kind of get started with backflip? And also I wanted to mention before we get into that, the upfront, the first time we attempted this interview and didn't record any of it, we had mentioned a couple of the kind of great people that have come through there, and we'd mentioned Chris Erickson, who's awesome, and he's also another good actor. We'd talked about that, but Sally Unger and who else was there that you could think of? That's
Morgan Groby's fantastic. He's moved on to LA now. Stephen Edwards is great. Stephen I knew from before he was in the upfront, just kind of an acquaintance in college, and then we both kind of found out that the other person was funny. And he's a great person to work with, really supportive, has a lot of great ideas. He's the guy who introduced the panel show, which is still running there once a month.
A popular show?
Yeah. The 10 o'clock show, I don't think people always know what the show is. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they just show up for the 10 o'clock show, and it is what it is. But people like it quite a bit. I think that's available as a podcast as well. If you search for the panel upfront, I'm on a couple episodes of that. Huh. Those are around to listen to. At least I know some of them are.
And Kenny Davis as well. He's been there a couple times.
Yeah. Kenny's done the panel a couple times. Kenny's also a former parrot. Yeah. And stand-up as well. He's kind of a big stand-up guy, as well as Jimmy Sorrentino, who's also in backflip.
And go ahead and talk about backflip. How'd you get started with backflip, and was it already going before you entered it, or was it kind of a your baby, or not your baby, but like did you help create it, or did you come into it after it was already?
Well, the group was formed shortly before I came back from LA. I think it started around July or August, and I came back in October, the beginning of October. And they had started kind of pitching some ideas for sketches. There was another guy, Greg Barrett, who moved to Portland before they did any shows, right when I was coming back. So me and Greg kind of switched spots, and I kind of came in and he went out. And so they had kind of started with the idea, but I mean, I love the idea from the get-go. Mm-hmm. I knew everybody involved. Jimmy Sorrentino, I think I had met like once before, so I didn't know Jimmy super well, but got along with him great, and I've worked with Jimmy on some things before, or since rather. And we just kind of got started. We didn't. Some of us had sketch experience, some of us didn't. I didn't have a lot of experience writing sketch specifically myself. Mm-hmm. But kind of got some practice and just kind of met together every week, threw out some ideas out, would see what would stick, and then went from there. And then we just started looking for performance spaces around town to book. And I think we did our first 2 shows at the Firehouse Performing Arts Center, mm-hmm. and then did a few shows at Melody Hall, which is it used to be a church and is now a performance space that's out towards the airport. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, once we got access and kind of an in with the upfront through Dan Erickson, because he was the first of us to be a ensemble member at the upfront. Right. We kind of moved there and started doing shows there, and that kind of brought in a bigger audience. For a long time, nobody really knew who we were, so it was mostly friends and family. And then once we kind of got into the upfront, it kind of brought in their audience as well as our friends and family, and kind of built up from there. And unfortunately, kind of culminated, the group kind of came apart when Dan moved to New York. Right. Which was right when Bellingham State of Mind happened. And I think the group stayed together, that maybe we could have really gotten some big pull audience-wise for people to come out and check out the show. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe not. That
said, though, Dan is now on Casting the News, which you can all find, which is a great little show as well. So, mm-hmm. I mean, he missed the boat on that one. No, I'm just kidding. Let's get into well, actually, there's a lot of people you met, I think, through Backflip. You met or through the upfront and stuff. Did you also meet Patton through there? And
Patton I met through Backflip more so. Kenny Davis had gotten involved with Chris Patton through Trailer Wars. Mm-hmm. and Kenny had suggested that we, as Backflip Wilson, submit and make a trailer for their scary movie category that was coming up, and we did this trailer called Doll, and we happened to win that Trailer Wars. So that kind of got me introduced with Chris, and
as is prone to happen randomly at Trailer Wars now and then.
It's very true. You never know who you're going to meet that you didn't know before, and then next month you might be filming something with them. And I've gotten to know a lot of really cool people in Bellingham just through Trailer Wars and filming with them and seeing their products and seeing what they come up with. So yeah, it's a great example of kind of small networking inside your community as far as like artistic things go.
Obviously I mentioned Patton, and that kind of leads into in a minute we can talk about Bellingham State of Mind, which is kind of the thing that maybe a lot of people would recognize you from out in the YouTubes. But you're a DJ. You DJ'd school dances and house parties and many a wedding.
Uh-huh.
And what did you say, the roller or the
Sportsplex Ice Arena? I DJ'd for a couple of years as well.
Perfect. How did that get started? When did you start doing that?
It got started back in 2000 when I was attending Ferndale High School, and a friend of mine was doing the DJing for after game dances. Then Peter Harksel, I think, is a mutual friend of ours.
Yep.
And he let me know I had come to help him out one night where he needed some help, and he told me that he was not looking to do it anymore and was wondering if I wanted to take it over. And so got started and started building a music collection and learned the ropes, learned the equipment, and then took it from there. And that was kind of the beginning of me expanding my music collection towards DJing. And I've been doing it ever since, like you said, with school dances and house parties first, and then onto the ice skating rink. And then about 3.5 years ago, got started with the wedding business, and have done about, since then, I think I've got about 40 weddings or so, 45 weddings under my belt. Yeah, it's been great because it allows me to do a lot of different things. I mean, all of those things, plus I've done laser tag events that I've DJ'd. I've DJ'd for business openings. I've DJ'd kind of all sorts of different things, corporate holiday parties. And the one thing I'm kind of looking to get into is to actually start doing nightclubs and bars and things like that. Right now, I've got a pretty basic setup as far as equipment goes, and so I'm looking to kind of upgrade, get the full kind of professional layout.
The dead mouse setup, with the
with big mouse helmet and everything.
Perfect.
And get that going.
Perfect.
it'll just flash Cox across the front of it.
Exactly. I have a different helmet in mine now already. Now, were you already into MCing by then? I mean, obviously there's an MC as far as DJing, you're an MC, but as far as getting into kind of
or more mic commander and less master of sound.
Exactly. When did you get into rapping and hip hop and all that?
I got into hip hop from my brother Josiah. He's 4 years older than me, and he got me introduced into hip hop when I was younger, when our parents wouldn't let us listen to it, but he listened to it anyway. And so then I would just kind of follow his lead and introduce me to artists like Skilo and Tribe Called Quest and Arrested Development and Paperboy and Dr. Dre, Warren G, all sorts of stuff like that. And that kind of progressed. And as I started to develop my own tastes, I started to kind of really get into hip hop and find out what I loved about it, which is just kind of its open, unbridled nature. The fact that you could do anything with hip hop, really. It doesn't have a lot of restraints on exactly what you can and can't do. One hip hop artist may not sound anything like another. Right. And there's kind of like an initial, I think before I actually got involved in doing it myself, there's some worry about like, oh, I'm this like suburban white Anglo kid, right, with Chester A. Arthur facial hair. I now haven't always. And And
yeah,
so like
earlier I called you the quintessential Anglo-suburban hip-hop connoisseur.
yeah,
Fits you perfectly. But that's still Bellingham, though, I think, too.
Definitely. And I mean, there's a hip hop community in Bellingham too. They have a monthly event, B-Boy conference at the Wild Buffalo, and they have a freestyle competition. And I mean,
huge every time, and it like shuts down the street every time. And it's always amazing to me that it's kind of, it almost seems out of nowhere every time it happens.
Yeah, and I mean, at least 80% of those rappers who come to the freestyle thing are white guys. Like. Well, I mean, that's mostly due to the makeup of the community, but...
Well, let's not call them white guys. Let's call them dorks. They're dorks. We're all dorks.
Well...
Who rap. I mean, I don't, but I'm just saying, we're not, we're not ghetto living here.
Yeah, a recent friend of mine and electronic kind of EDM and kind of chill wave. He does all sorts of electronic music. A guy named DJ IG88. Or Brandon is his name. Mm-hmm. I mean, that right there, the fact that his name is a
bounty hunter from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, exactly. Or Return of the Jedi, rather.
See, the fact that I know that. No, he's in Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
He's on the group there with. Why am I telling you this? He's there. He's there with initially Boba Fett shows up the first time. Anyway. Enough of that.
There's a circle of him standing there when he gets dipped into the carbonite. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You're correct. Anyway, yeah, so we're massive white Anglo dorks.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
But as far as kind of getting into doing it myself, that all came about more so. Like, I would, like, rap along with things, like, while songs were on, and would freestyle on my own to beats, like, not around anybody else. And I'd written some, like, song lyrics before for other things, but kind of the big thing that got me started on writing my own hip-hop rhymes and kind of emceeing a little bit myself was Bellingham State of Mind. Mm-hmm. That I did as kind of a thing associated with Backflip Wilson. Thought it would kind of be just another sketch video that we would do, and it kind of became something more and a little bit separate from the group, though most of the guys from the group are in it. Mm-hmm. Somewhere or another. So
let's talk about Bellingham State of Mind. I want to I will play it right now.
Yeah, I'm on that Holly Street, now I'm down at Railroad, right next to Ryan Styles, the up front forever. I'm the new Dirty Dan, yeah, he used to smuggle beer, and since he made it here, Boundary Bay makes it here. Used to go to Western, all my fellow Vikings, right there up on High Street, dreamed of what I might be, dropped into my hot spot, 1211 State Street, hot Russian dumplings, that's what they make me. Over to mi casa, hombre que pasa, potatoes and tequila, celebrate La Raza. Me, I'm at the Fairhaven, tunes by Seamus, rocking karaoke mics, feeling like I'm famous. Say what up to Nightlight, damn you put up a fight. Now where's 80s night? We used to do it right. Royal full of douchebags, clothes make me wanna gag. Know what I'm gonna do? Meet me at the Horseshoe
in Bellingham.
Cheese fries, baby.
City of subdued excitement. Our streets keep you spellbound. Now you're in Bellingham. We're at the top of the Puget Sound. Here everything's going down. Let's hear it for B-Ham, B-Ham, B-Ham.
Catch me up in Baker with the border smoking half pipes. Ski to sea finish line. All the teams getting hyped. Take my girl down for a walk on the boulevard. What up to my people up on Texas where they live hard. Welcome to the West Coast, sucker, you can catch a jab. Try and act tough, you'll be leaving in a death cab. Red line, blue line, Somo Rovers, holla back. Bubble of Canadians, cleaning out the Macy's racks. Down at the docks, you can catch a ferry. Hitting up Hagen for some Adeline dairy. Donuts at Lafine's on my way out to the lake. Stopping at the woods for a mocha and some cake. At Whatcom Falls, you can catch Cliff jumping. KUGS always keeps the tunes bumping. Let me hear the locals sing. Long live Chuck and Nut, long live the Sandwich Twin. I'm from the Evergreen State.
Bellingham, the city of subdued excitement. Our streets keep you spellbound. Now you're in Bellingham. the Puget Sound. Here everything's going down. Let's hear it for B-Ham, B-Ham, B-Ham.
Sun is blinding, but only in the summer. Everybody's equal conscious, you'll never see a Hummer. One with the earth, running arboretum trails. Yo, I gotta bring a snack, baker's cookies never fail. You can join the in crowd, the hipster style. So many scarves and tights, you'll never see some skin out. American apparel, they quote some Lewis Carroll. Everywhere I've been, the city's filled with them. Want some entertainment? Hit the Wild Buffalo, or outside of everyday, you can meet a juggalo. At the Pickford, all the films make the crowds roar. Big ups to my people who compete in trailer wars. Came here for school, now I'm living up the good life. Mountains, ocean, city got me feeling right. Love for anyone that's in the Northwest, but the throne of Whatcom County is the absolute best.
In Bellingham,
That's the truth, man.
the city of subdued excitement. Our streets keep you spellbound. Now you're in Bellingham. We're at the top of the Puget Sound. Here everything's going down. Let's hear it for B-Ham, B-Ham, B-Ham. One hand in the air for the small city. Rainfall on the streets all looking pretty. No place in the world that can compare. Put your coffee in the air, everybody say yeah, 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 yeah. In Bellingham, the city of subdued excitement. Our streets keep you spellbound. Now you're in Bellingham. We're at the top of the Puget Sound. Here everything's going down. Let's hear it for B-Ham, B-Ham, B-Ham.
How did Bellingham State of Mind come about? Really, as far as I heard a little bit of the story earlier. Just tell me that again, and then where what was that experience like for you? The not just the making it, but the post YouTube explosion that occurred.
Yeah, it got started because I took a trip to New York in 2009, November. And while I was there, I had my MP3 player with me, and I would listen to Empire State of Mind while I was in New York City, and I just kind of enhanced the entire experience of being in New York a little bit whenever I would listen to it. It captured the spirit of the city and made the song a lot cooler, having the visuals around, and I just thought that it did that in such a cool way. Mm-hmm. And I'd seen other people do versions of parodies of Empire State of Mind about their own cities or states. And I thought to myself,
that a lot of times were kind of very much parodies and almost derogatory, and a lot of them, I thought. Yeah.
There's quite a bit of them, and a lot of it's certainly a grab bag. Some of them are kind of good, or a couple are really good, and then a lot of them are not very good at all. And so, I saw those, and I thought to myself, first of all, I'm pretty sure that I can do better with the people that I can collaborate with,
right?
And I would love to be able to give Bellingham kind of an anthem, and I mean, it's a song that other people know, so that helps a little bit in terms of kind of rolling off of Jay-Z's music. That helps for the recognition and the fact that it's already a catchy tune. But lyrically, being able to make it about our city and our town and help people identify with it and celebrate Bellingham and reflect on where they live and how many cool things there are here, things to do, places to eat, places to dance or hear music or hike or whatever. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to be able to kind of encapsulate that in a song and put that out there. And my expectation was that it might get 1,000 views, it might get 2,000 views, and my friends from college would probably share it around a little bit, or some people might watch it when I posted it on Facebook. And it went off, and a
quarter of a million views, pretty much.
Yeah, and about 70 or 80,000 in the first week, which was nuts. I'll remember that week for the rest of my life. at this point, like in retrospect, like looking back on the song, like it was a lot of fun and it was kind of like a small thing. And a lot of people at this point, like they might remember it fondly, but like for the most part, people are kind of done with it as far as like something they might like listen to often.
Right.
But that memory of that week for me was just incredible. Like my phone was ringing, which people never call people anymore. So I was actually like getting phone calls from people. It was everywhere on Facebook. Over like 100 of my friends shared it. I had people telling me that their grandmother in West Virginia emailed them and asked if they had seen it.
I think didn't like Como come up and talk to you in the whole 9 yards? Something like that, or Cairo or something.
Q13,
that's what I was
going to do a Skype interview with me, and they actually, and they did. And then when it aired on Fox on TV, their station cut out. At least for
damn you, Fox.
For the evening broadcast, and I think in the morning it worked out, but I wasn't going to wake up at 6 just to see my Skype face.
Fox fails once again. But you were interviewed by KVOS. I remember seeing that one. So
Slater, who's great. Yeah, she pulled me in for an interview, and I remember it kind of all. It felt like it all, at least that week, came to a conclusion with Boundary Bay asked me to come perform at an event that they were having, and tons of people showed out, and me and Rashawn went there, and Rashawn Scott, who sang on the track with me. And it was just this incredible feeling of just feeling like really supported by the community and having everybody enjoy the song and celebrate it. And I remember kind of one of my favorite memories was, I think it was maybe like the Wednesday night or whatever. I'd been hanging out with a friend down by Boulevard Park, and I went on a walk along the docks there by myself, and it was like 11 or midnight or something like that, and super late, and nobody was around. And I had a guilty pleasure moment where I just put the song on my MP3 player.
Nice.
Kind of had a rocky moment of like running down the docks and like.
That's awesome. So tell me about everyone involved in it. Obviously, you were involved. I was actually involved. I did some of the mixing on it and recording, but the
mixing and recording.
Tell me about Rashawn and of course Patton, who I said in our first attempt at this interview, I said I definitely want to get Patton on the show because he's like a Bellingham's treasure.
Yeah,
that is totally kind of deserves some sort of weird Bellingham award. I don't know, but yeah, what was it like to work with everybody?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, like you said earlier, I've known you since I was probably, I don't know, like 12 or 13 or something like that. So, and I know you've got musical prowess and had your own kind of home recording setup, and so it was great being able to pop in there with you and work with you. And then Rashawn, who I knew from, she was in Dead Parrot Society, and out of kind of people I knew who had like a strong singing voice that would kind of fit the style of what Alicia Keys was doing. I asked Rashawn if she was interested, and I didn't know her that well, actually, at the time. We had done 1 or 2 improv shows together, but I think we were definitely much more acquaintances then than we are kind of more friends now. And yeah, she just kind of popped in. And
now, is she another parrot?
She is a parrot, yeah.
Oh, another parrot. She's off to bigger and better things now as well, I think I'd heard.
And she was actually a member of the Dead Parrot Society national champion team as well. So yeah, she's a great improviser. She just did Avenue Q down in Seattle. She played the part of Gary Coleman, if you're familiar with the musical at all. And yeah, fantastic, and had a lot of fun working with her and doing the video with her. And then Patton, of course, who has so much responsibility for the success of the video because how he put it together and the editing and just the way it all looks. And it's a great complete package and really captured everything I was looking for. And he and I just kind of went through the song. Similarly, when I was writing the song, I came back from New York and I wrote it in about 4 hours, mostly in one shot, and kind of made a list myself lyrically of what I wanted to mention or address or highlight. And I couldn't get it all in there. I mean, and I have people who talk to me about that where they're just like, oh, you didn't mention the Up and Up, or you didn't mention Rudy's or things like that. And wish that I could have included those things. And sometimes I was a little tempted to be like the remix and then include all the things that I missed, but I don't think that was necessary.
No.
But just for that purpose. But we did the same thing then after the song was made. Patton and I listened to the video or listened to the song and made a list of locations that we wanted to film at. Boulevard Park and in front of the Red Castle and the Mount Baker Theater Tower and Whatcom Falls and the Arboretum and all these different places. And so we just kind of guerrilla styled it and went out and took 2 or 3 shots at each location and then just went to the next one. And I think it took us about a week overall. He and I did a bunch by ourselves, and then we did some stuff with Rashawn and I to kind of get the choruses done. She was only out there for 1 day shooting, so she didn't have to over town with us all the time.
I don't know if you knew, but actually on the choruses in the background is both me and my wife.
Yeah. So, I always forget
a little part of us is in that.
Very true, and yeah, I mean, you're credited on the YouTube on the page itself under the details. I believe both your names are in there.
Perfect. So we're kind of internet famous too now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm. And it makes a difference with Crystal layered under there. It definitely adds, with both of you actually, for that matter, adds support to Rashawn because she's got such a great alto voice that like having some.
Well, it was just something about the song, and you know, it was a parody, but it's one of those things that was so. It's kind of uplifting in terms of the last several years. And this may be changing as far as, I mentioned Patton, but a lot of people in town now are really trying to promote some scenes and some things going on now. And for a few years there, it seemed like nothing was really not that nothing was happening, but it had been kind of mellow in town, and in terms of everyone was trying to get to Seattle or everyone was trying to get to somewhere else, and Bellingham State of Mind was awesome because it kind of was like an uplifting thing that really, it really made, if you heard it for the first time and you were somebody that was, here, that was only here for a short time, would be like, yeah, this town seems cool. And also if you're somebody who's lived here your whole life, you heard it for the first time and you're like, oh man, yeah, that's everything I love too. So it was it was a really uplifting, again, a parody, but it was a really original in its ability to, increase the local mood, I guess.
Yeah, thanks. And I mean, I appreciate that a lot. As I mentioned earlier, I originally just intended it to be kind of a sketch video, and the fact that it's served as anything more than that has just been a pleasure for me. And I mean, I've certainly tried to just remember, like, at the end of the day, like, it's a simple 3.5 minute song and video, or 5 minutes, it is. And I mean, for whatever it can be more than that. I think the timing, though, I think you're right there that like around that time, I think there has been some kind of rebirth for some communities, the hip hop community in Bellingham. I mean, and all these things have been around. I'm not going to try to say that it had anything.
No,
but there has been kind of, I think, a renewed energy with the hip hop community, with the comedy community, with theater in town, kind of arts in general. There's been new venues that have opened up as far as different art places, just kind of straight up like paintings and stuff like that. So there's been art galleries that have opened. There's been more performance venues that have opened, places that have reopened, some that are shut down. But it's there's been a lot of growth, I think, in the past few years, for sure.
I asked you this question on the first time around. I'll ask it again. What do you miss most about Bellingham since you moved away, and also, we mentioned a couple things that you missed since growing up around here. Talk about those again. First, what do you missed about Bellingham since you moved away?
Since I moved away, honestly, a lot of the people, I think, are what I miss the most. not just like there's close friends of mine, obviously, who live up there. My family is up there. But as far as there's other people like artists or mainly kind of more artists in the community that I really love what they do. And I want to continue to see it. And I'll see shows posted on Facebook or posted online that I want to drive back up to Bellingham to check out their shows. Awesome DJs like IG88 and Ryan I and Triple Crown and Boombox Kid, or comedians, people at the Upfront, people in bands, Sean Myers, City of Lost Children, all sort. There's so many awesome bands that are going on right now in Bellingham that I can never. Black Beast Revival. Wait, that may not be the right name. I might be getting.
We can promote a flannel. Let's say flannel.
Flannel, my brother's '90s cover. I've yet to see them in person. Actually, gotcha. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Oh well, in person they suck.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just
kidding. Black Survival is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really cool, kind of like hard rock rockabilly thing that's going on. My friend Aaron James is in front of that, or the front man for that. But yeah, just and good theater going on at the Idiom, stuff happening at the Upfront still. And I miss that probably the most, is just kind of being able to check out those shows, go to Trailer Wars events, all sorts of stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And also the food. The food's great. I love the food. I miss it a lot. There's a small food cart community that's also, that's kind of becoming popular.
There's been two new ones in the last year, I think, that have popped up.
Yeah, and I miss kind of being able to be there for that and check out these new places that are opening, and then other restaurants that have been there for a while that I love, like Bayou on Bay, or bars like the Oyster Bar, which, those two are connected. Man Pies, which is kind of food carty, which a couple years ago, which is very tasty. Copper Hog, Deanna's, what I would give for some Deanna's Italian food right now.
So when you were you grew up around here, we'll say the important parts of your life.
Sure.
Your main events, we'll say your main events happened here.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you mentioned a couple places, I want you to mention them again, that you miss from the old days that hopefully most of the people watching this would miss as well. But for those that did not miss them, maybe you can explain them a little bit.
Sure. One that I mentioned in Bellingham State of Mind is the Sandwich Twin Drive-In, which was torn down, I think, sometime around 2003, 2002, something like that.
Something like that.
That was there right when I moved to Whatcom County in 1995. It was might be the first movie that I saw in Whatcom County. My dad took me to see Toy Story and Jumanji. There's a double feature. You could pay $5. It was super cheap. And then I continued to go there, especially once I got into high school. Would go there all the time with friends from high school. Had my first kiss in the back of a truck at that place. Had tons of great times with a assortment of friends, and it was just a really unique experience that I've not really been able to experience anywhere else in the county or in the state. I'm sure there's probably a couple still rattling around somewhere out there,
but there's no hub quite like a drive-in.
Yeah, it's a great just nostalgic feeling. Like, even though I wasn't there, I wasn't around for like the boom of drive-ins early decades ago, but it was just a really unique experience and a lot of fun, and wish it was still around. Wish it hadn't gotten torn down. But when you're paying $5 for two movies, I imagine it's probably not too easy to.
Every summer we'd go if the movie was at all worthwhile. Even if it wasn't, I've seen a lot of crappy movies at Sandwich Twin, but even if it wasn't, you'd go on a Saturday night just because you knew that's where you'd know somebody there. Yeah,
and I kind of wish I hadn't done it now, because maybe it would have stayed open, but you'd always try to, oftentimes would have one or two people in the trunk.
Oh yeah, tossed in the trunk, yeah. Every time. The another place you mentioned in our failed interview was Stewart's.
Yeah.
A lot of people might not remember Stewart's. It's where Bayou and Bay is. What's your Stewart's experience?
On the corner of Holly and Bay. That was kind of the cool place to go as a middle schooler. If you went to Bellingham, you pretty much had the mall.
It was almost like a dingy bar for a middle schooler in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it kind of was. Like you had the mall if you were kind of the mainstream kid, but if you wanted to be like kind of the cool, sophisticated middle schooler,
True.
You went to Stewart's because they would have, obviously, I mean, coffee there was the main focus, but they would have paintings up on the walls and poetry readings and singer-songwriter performers. I remember Swill Canum, a local Native American storyteller, would do shows there every now and then. And yeah, it was just kind of a cool little place that felt okay to hang out in, even though you're a middle schooler and you feel like the world hates you.
Right.
So that place was really cool, and it did close down eventually, and it moved to the public market building on Cornwall for a while, and I think it's still there. But it's not like their name, but it's not the same as the kind of the original place. But I'm glad that another establishment, Bayou on Bay, that I really like, moved in and has kind of kept the place a cool place that I like to go. Though the one thing I will say about Bayou on Bay, and this is part of what makes me miss it, is that oftentimes we would go from the upfront to the Grand, and that was kind of like our often usual watering hole for when we were done with shows after the upfront. And we walk past Bayou on Bay every single time, and they're closed, but the fans are still going, and it smells so damn good. Like so like it makes me want to break a window and like just scrape whatever residual Cajun oil is out of the pans and eat it like some sort of savage. Oh, it smells so good. One of my favorite smells in the world probably is walking past Bayou on Bay late at night. And then the other place, aside from Stewart's that I had mentioned before, was the 3B, which I only experienced a little bit of, but the little time that I did spend there, you learn a lot about what its kind of appeal is. Just small, dingy, smoke-filled rock club that I mostly just went there for 80s night on
the much copied 80s night.
Yep, there's many
3B.
Have existed since then, and now there's probably multiple of them across town. But it was great going there and just the whole place being packed and having the bar in the back that only sold the tall boys, and yeah, it was fantastic kind of going there, and like you felt a little gross at the end of the night, but that meant you had a good night.
Exactly.
Now, if I go to a place and I don't feel that way after like an enthusiastic 80s night or something of that sort, then you're doing it wrong. So, yeah, and I know for a lot of other people who've been in town longer, or basically who were 21 for longer while it was still open, it was a really cool, iconic place where a lot of awesome indie bands would play. Idiot Pilot, USS Horsewhip, stuff like that. And yeah, wish I'd been able to stick around for a little bit longer. But I mean, there's other places on that same stretch in State Street, like the Shakedown's there now, and
that's very popular.
Yeah, and I think the Shakedown's kind of recaptured a lot of that same spirit. They've got, if you go up inside of, it might be on the first floor too, but if you go up to their balcony up above, they have tons and tons of pictures of old shows back at the 3B and some other locations.
Nice.
Check that out yourself and any other viewers if you hadn't yet. And then the bathroom is kind of wallpapered with like show reviews from back in the 90s and early stuff like that. It's really cool what they've done with that place. I like it a lot.
So let's go ahead and wrap up and tell me about what you're working on now. What's on your plate? Sure.
The thing I'm working on, kind of the most immediate, is down at Jet City Improv in Seattle, where I live now, which is in the U District. I'm in a Gilbert and Sullivan improvised musical, which is why I have this facial hair currently. And yeah, I'm playing Gilbert in that, so it should be a lot of fun. We're having fun getting that ready to go. That opens on February 28th and closes on April 22nd. So hopefully some of you will come down and check it out. And then otherwise, I've got I've did a Game of Thrones rap song called, if you search Black and Yellow Baratheon or Black and Yellow Game of Thrones, you can probably find it on YouTube. Me and my friend Andy, who worked on the first one, along with Taylor, with yourself, we're looking to do a full album, but this time have it be original music, which will be the first time that I've done of my own tracks that I've created. The first time that I've done completely new sounds coming out of it, completely new beats, and then raps that are completely based off of that new beat instead of doing parodies, but like before. So we're working on that. We're kind of in the writing and beat making process right now, and hopefully we'll get that going all throughout kind of when season 3 starts of Game of Thrones, which is the end of March.
Nice.
And then finally looking to kind of get my own podcast started that I've had kind of brewing in my head for a while, called The Apologist, where basically I get assignments from other people of things in pop culture, albums, movies, songs, artists, whoever, that they don't like. They tell me why they don't like it, and then I review it and I defend it, being the apologist for whatever that pop culture item is. And
so somebody's like Bradley Cooper sucks, and then you have to be like, no, Bradley Cooper's awesome. He does great impressions, or something like that.
Performance in Silver Linings Playbook, he's quite more refined as an actor. So like that's a small taste.
Perfect.
But yeah, something along those lines, and probably have a guest in on most of the shows, kind of have a devil's advocate. You
could probably get Bradley Cooper, actually, I think, at this point.
We'll see about that. Nominated for an Academy Award gets you a pretty busy schedule, but I'll see. I'll give him a call. I've got to.
Doesn't mean anything nowadays.
I suppose that's
like
true.
A Ryan Gosling, that guy. I still feel like that guy's going to show up in just somewhere at a cafe I'm at, just because like I need a job, man.
It's possible. You never know. He might become the Bill Murray of our generations, who supposedly shows tells you to not tell him that, or tell other people that he was there. So who knows?
All right. Well, thank you very much for showing up on my the inaugural episode of Whatcom Inquisitor. Hopefully, it'll with your pretty face, it'll get shared a little more than if anyone else came for the first one. But it's been awesome. Sorry we had to do it twice.
That's fine. And Bellingham's full of awesome people, no matter what they do, is whether they're business owners or artists or musicians or comedians or actors or gardeners, whatever. It doesn't matter. We got awesome people here, so I
want to talk to all of them. That's my goal.
Just seeing who you get on the show and hearing what they have to say.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much. And are there any? Do you have any like websites or podcast? Or well, you talked about the podcast you're gonna have, but where can people see your stuff?
You can see most of the videos that I've done so far, as well as other comedic sketches from Backflip Wilson at youtube.com/Backflip Wilson. If you're interested, if you need a DJ for your wedding, you can find me at DJ Nathan Cox. Facebook.com/DJ Nathan Cox on Facebook. And finally, I'm on Twitter. That's what you do if you're in comedy these days, it seems like. So you can follow me at Cox Thoughts.
Cox Thoughts.
GHTS.
The funny tweets. All right. Well, thank you very much once again. And I know I'll see you around if we're going to be recording those Game of Thrones things. So, yeah, thank you much. And thanks to everyone who watched, and this was the first episode of Whatcom Inquisitor. Hopefully you'll come back next time. And it was a very short hour from me, so.
Me as well.
All right, have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, House Baratheon. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Yeah, House Baratheon. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Yeah, House Baratheon. King's Landing, Dragonstone, Storm's End. Yeah, ours is the fury, taking Westeros. Y'all better hurry, flying the banners when you see me, you know everything. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Bend the knee and I'll show you who the real king. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Black stag, yellow field. Take my rightful throne with this flaming steel. Lightbringer, post rebellion stuck out here on Dragonstone. My own wife has me in the friend zone. Onion Knight, that's my man Davos. He's my right hand. His hand whoops adios. And Robert's wife slept with her twin brother. Her son Joffrey, what a disrespectful bitch, just like his mother. Renly's heading north, claimed a girl as his new lover, but the Knight of Flowers plays with him under the covers. Melisandre gave me a new start. Azor Ahai, flaming heart. Yeah, House Baratheon, King's Landing, Dragonstone, Storm's End. Yeah, ours is the fury, taking Westeros. Y'all better hurry, flying the banners when you see me, you know everything. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Bend the knee and I'll show you who the real king. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Tired of taking hand-me-downs from my older kin. Gonna steal the king's crown, get out of Storm's End. The ladies like me, who with my chest shaved. Step to me, Brienne, will put you to the test, knave. So yeah, you best cave. If not to her, then Loras. Call him the Knight of Flowers, then you can call me the Florist. Representing Stormlands in the Reach. You and your red god can go and eat a peach. Yeah, House Baratheon, King's Landing, Dragonstone, Storm's End. Yeah, ours is the fury, taking Westeros. Y'all better hurry, flying the banners when you see me, you know everything. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Bend the knee and I'll show you who the real king. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
I ruled from the Iron Throne. My warhammer took that royal crown, straight crushed Rhaegar's dome, and my queen was unapproachable. Now I'm dead and they took Ned's head. I wanna sleep with some whores, drink wine, hunt boars, eat meat. The Targaryens done for. Wage war, Baratheon line, true stags to our core. No lions or dragons, better refill my flagon.
Yeah, House Baratheon. The night is dark and full of terrors. Yeah, House Baratheon. Yeah, like my dick.
Flying the banners when you see me, you know everything.
Like his dick.